What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This is part 2 of last week's episode where we get into the ideals of success and why you're not as far from it as you probably think you are. You're a lot closer? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, this is the Tile Freak Podcast.
Let's get started.
What is that? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember the...
Too legit to quit?
Cut
it out.
it out.
Dave Coulier, extraordinarily funny comedian. Man, cheesy, eh?
It's so cheesy, but so good.
Cut it out. He did like the Popeye. He just became that character and he can never shake it.
Yeah.
Hey, quick aside. I'm Dave Coulier.
Yeah.
We watch Family Guy.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes is when Jesus comes back and he's a guest on The Tonight Show. But he's upset because he's the second guest and Dave Coulier is the first. It's like, how am I the second guest? So he was mad.
Yeah.
So then, Jay Leno comes out and goes, hey, welcome, he's back, Jesus Christ. And then Jesus comes out and, Coulier moves down the couch and he's mad that, Coulier was the lead. And that's my Dave Coulier story. I mean, nothing to do with what you're about to talk about.
No.
But funny.
No. What was I going to talk about? Yeah, famous people. I saw this thing, this guy was talking about who we are as people and how it's much more ingrained in us than we think. When we look at, we're all kind of, average Joe is sitting here thinking of what they need to do to find their ideal of success or where they're going as a human being, what they want to be, all that stuff. They're trying to figure this out. Average Joe, I'm talking about. People who haven't reached what they think of as the pinnacle of their success. And these people are kind of trying to emulate other people. They're looking at this person because they made X amount of dollars, or they're looking at this person because they're this famous, or this actor's so skilled, or this singer's so talented, whatever. And they're looking at those things and they're trying to emulate those things. And I think a big miss for us as average Joes is we don't realize that we are the same person. We already have all the tools to be that success. We just haven't reached it yet. So when you're talking to people, and he was talking about, God, I wish I could remember his name. Anyway, he was talking about people who, when you're talking to them, they don't want to listen. They have no interest in, they're kind of in their own little world or whatever. And they're not willing to take your advice until you make it. And then he's like, now you want my advice, but now I'm not as obtainable. And it made me think deeply about, we all have a specific level that we're going to achieve or reach in our life. I think it's predetermined or destined because of our actions or because of our decisions that we make in life. So when you get to the level of where you want to be, you realize that you were there all along. And that's why Kobe, LeBron, everybody in the world that you hear has any kind of level of success say it's about the process. It's not about being here. It's not about the Benz. It's not about the Bentley. It's not about the big house or any of that stuff. It's about the process. So it really made me think about, this is crazy to think that accepting the process is accepting who you are right now as being the success that you will end up becoming.
Yeah.
You're already there.
I saw a picture on the internet this week, and it was a bunch of skeletons lined up. And it was black, white, gay, straight, religious, atheist, and all these titles under them, but they're all skeletons.
Right.
And it's like,
we're all the same.
It's one of those great things, you're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, so with a radio background, to go on to your point here, an old boss of mine would say, just stop being so reverential to people. We're all just humans.
Mm.
And his point was, sometimes you'd hear a guest on a radio station. Oh, we're joined by LeBron. Oh my God, we're just so thrilled to have you.
Right.
It's such a pleasure to even get a moment to speak with you. Oh my God, I can't believe you're even in my space. And, I can't even believe we live on the same planet. That kind of throwing yourself.
Right.
And his point was, they're just humans.
Right.
Like, just stop it. We're all human.
Mm-hmm.
Money is different, fame is different, but you got to stop it with the categorization of stuff. So it's true. So someone that is, shooting hoops outside may think they're worlds apart from a Kobe, a LeBron, or whoever, but they have the same exact.
They're the exact.
They were born differently. You're not born with the same skills or whatever, but no one is more human than someone else.
Yeah, and it's equally as crippling if you're kind of the glass is half empty, because you could say, well, I'm predetermined to not ever be successful, so why do I have to? It's not about that. It's just about, you have a setup of DNA or structure or whatever, and that is going to lead you to where you're going to end up. And that process, the habits you develop when you develop them, is exactly when they were supposed to be developed. And if you're not famous, or you're not rich, or you're not wherever you think you should be by right now, it's because you haven't gone through the things that you need to go through in order to be prepared for that moment.
And we're distracted. I saw a video. So I did photography on the side. It was a great piece of advice. It was like, if you follow people, and maybe it's the same in your industry, if you follow people in your industry, like on social media, and you constantly see, so in this case in photography, what other people are doing, it sometimes gets you down because you're focusing and obsessing over other people. And this person's like, stop following them. Because if you keep comparing to that, you don't know how many more hours they put in. So why are you trying to have this game where they're clearly ahead for a good reason, and you're getting down about that? So their view was, compare yourself today to you yesterday. Are you getting better? If you're better, you're getting better. So it's funny, you sit there and be like, I wish I had that. I wish I did this. But you're doing nothing. There's no process.
You're not doing anything, and you're just not ready.
But the process is evaluate yourself. So, like he was right. He goes, if you see yourself yesterday and make improvements that you're better tomorrow, now that's part of that process. You keep going instead of just stopping. Because it's funny you say this. Because when you look back at stuff, you actually aren't doing anything.
No, you're not. There's the old saying, you got one foot in yesterday, one foot in tomorrow, and you're shitting and pissing on today. And if you're always thinking about on an ironic t-shirt. Have like a baby squatting with like a dirty diaper hanging down. Sorry, I get like.
It's a good point, because I think we doubt ourselves in general.
We do, and it's really amazing to watch this whole what's her name, Amber Heard, Amber Beard, and Johnny Depp. It's amazing to watch this unfold, because you're seeing a very human side of Johnny Depp. Someone who, in my mind, was like Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Like, you're thinking this guy's like as confident as all hell. He's got everything figured out. And you turn around and he's being tormented in a relationship, and he can't have this.
That whole thing, I was behind, so I didn't caught up on it this week.
Yeah.
My sister had mentioned, I said, I didn't even know there was a trial.
Yeah.
So of course I look at it now, I'm like listening to all the tapes.
Yeah, it's like the OJ trial.
Yeah.
It's
what's funny is it brings him down a notch. He doesn't come across as Mr. Celebrity. No. He's like, in one of these arguments, he's scared and he's hiding in the bathroom. Yeah. This is like the Pirates of the Caribbean guy.
This is Johnny fucking Depp.
Is afraid of someone and is saying to her, every time I leave the room, you keep coming after me.
Yeah.
Just let me be. I want to get away from you. I don't want you to hit me in the head with the door again. It's like crippling. And listen, he's not an angel either. They both have their issues.
For sure.
But from what you think of someone, it's kind of a good reminder that people like that are human.
Totally human. He's a complete human being. And again, like you said, not to take anybody's side in the thing.
No.
But it's a situation that both of them are going through. She is equally as human in this because of all this as he's equally as human. But it's like, that's Johnny Depp. That's fucking crazy.
Well, and we give these guys too much and then we criticize.
It's like Steven Tyler. Like, Tiger Woods. Like, it's like, this guy is, he's got it all figured out.
Well, this guy's done enough in his career, right? But he had to sit there in this trial and explain how he got his roles.
Totally.
It was like he was in a job interview.
Yeah.
And you know what? No one feels sorry for an actor that missed out on a role.
Right.
So if he was defamed, if his character was defamed to cost him work, no one cares.
Yeah.
Because we think it's too high. But if someone screwed you out of a job, someone badmouthed you to a couple of clients, and you had a big towel job you're ready to do, and you lost it, they'd be like, man, that's bullshit. That guy cost him.
Well, it's like what we talked about last week. Everybody wants you successful until you're successful, and then they don't want you anymore. But even his situation, like, I think kind of everybody really wanted to see him go into Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all kind of were like, there is no other Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Like,
it's him. Like, that's just Johnny Depp. Like, I don't even see the character they're trying to portray. I just see Johnny Depp, and I'm a big fan of his.
He actually comes across pretty cool in the trial in a way, because he's so
very likable.
I actually like him more.
Yeah, totally. I was like, dude, you're a fucking human. Like,
no, I'm like, this guy's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, it's hard to trust actors and actresses because really
I was gonna say that, like, it's either the greatest acting role of his life.
You never know.
It could be, for sure.
But it's seen as legit but it's funny. We as people build them up and tear them down.
Well, and
we build them up like they're celebrities, but then we don't feel sorry when they fall.
Yeah, and I didn't like him, years ago, because he did the whole France thing. Like, he was like, I'm denouncing my U.S. citizenship and I'm moving to France. Like, screw everybody. Yeah. And I was like, screw you, dude. Like, you're an American. Like, be an American. And,
well, they got
I was a couch quarterback, and I'm sitting here saying, like, oh, you should. I don't fucking know the guy's life. Like, who knows what he's dealing with or going through. And now looking back at that, I'm like, yeah, you, like, I just wish that reminds me, when I was in Vegas, I used to do, fill-in acting stuff. Like, they'd call you for, like, $100 and you go and sit there in, like, what they call it, like, crowds and shit like that. That's right. Extra work.
Extras. Yeah.
So I did the movie What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz, Ashton Kutcher, Rob Corddry, and Lake Bell. Okay. So I'm sitting in the nightclub and they grab me and they're like, okay, you're going to be dancing with Lake Bell and basically steal her from Rob Corddry. And for 2 seconds of actual film time, acting time, that came out of that was probably a millisecond fraction that probably even got edited. I couldn't even see it. That part in the movie was so fast. But that was one of the part of it. And I remember sitting there for like 5 hours with Lake Bell and Rob Corddry. And her assistant, whatever, comes up and she's like, your gum. And she spits her gum out in her assistant's hand. And I was like, that's disgusting. And I was like just making a joke or whatever. And Rob Corddry goes, that's not disgusting. 2 girls, 1 cup is. And I went, what? And we won't go into that at all.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was the most disgusting thing ever on the planet. And I remember Rob Corddry just one-liner after one-liner, just so funny when he didn't have to be. And Ashton Kutcher walks up, because he's supposed to be in this scene, walks up at the end of us standing there for hours laughing and joking with each other, walks up, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Thinking, like, we're cool. Like, we're all in this little scene together. I'm not an extra anymore, right? Like, I'm part of the crew. And he's like, he looks at me like, who the fuck are you? And he just kept going. And I was like, fuck you. Actually, funny enough, I was wearing one of his shoes, like a pair of his shoes, because I needed to wear some different color or whatever than I had on. So they gave me his extra shoes. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm all attached in different ways. And this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then he fucking snuffs me sitting there. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck you. For years, I wouldn't watch that 70s show anymore. Like, I mean, I was just absolutely, I was done with his ass. Like, punked, out of here. Like, cut it out. Like, fucking no more.
Maybe he was punking.
Yeah. So he probably
jumped out of the bushes.
It was the longest punk ever. So,
10 years later.
Yeah, 10 years later. We do
so
the SpongeBob thing. So I hated him forever. And then, I started thinking about it recently, like with this whole Johnny Depp thing. And I was like, this poor guy, maybe he was having a fucking rough night. He just got in an argument with somebody. Like, maybe he just got in an argument with Mila Kunis. Like, who fucking knows, right?
Maybe
like,
he had 10 people asking for an autograph.
And I was like number 15, right? Like, I'm the last guy that reads the long ironic t-shirt, and here I am, the fucking asshole. So anyway, and then it was followed up with Cameron Diaz being like one of the most outrageously funny and cool people ever. Like, came out at the last minute, and she was like, "Hey, everybody!" She was like, "Sorry, you guys had to wait so long." Film, and then she's gone. I watch the movie, and it's the part in Vegas is like seconds. The whole movie is like New York City, and it's like what happens in Vegas. It goes all the way to the Vegas where it's like, and it's gone. I was so bummed. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode and you understand just how close you are to your own success and what your ideals are of getting there. Thank you for tuning into the Towel Free Podcast. Please subscribe, like, follow, lighting, action, camera. We keep rolling. Fuck this shit. I gotta get the fuck back to work.